Joining me right now is California Congressman, House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy. Congressman, it's always a pleasure. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me back.
Your reaction to last night, Super Tuesday?
Well, the candidate who promised free health care to illegals and to ban fracking had a big night. And that's not Bernie Sanders, that's Joe Biden. So their policies are pretty similar, but Joe Biden had a big night last night.
You know, it's interesting that the policies are pretty similar, and yet the media and sort of the Democratic establishment looks at Joe Biden as the moderate in the group. But when you actually dig deeper into the policies, they're not so moderate.
They're not. And even in this House that the Democrats control, the socialist wing of the party controls it. Remember, Maria, more than half of all the members of Congress in the Democratic side not only support, but they co-sponsor Medicare for All. It is their policies of where they've been moving today. And remember Joe Biden, he raised his hand when they said, would you want to give health care free to illegals? He raised his hand like everybody else.
Yeah, I've got a report out this morning from one Wall Street firm that's going through Joe Biden's policies, and they do include taxes across the board in terms of lifting the corporate rate, something that you were very involved in terms of the tax legislation that moved the needle on economic growth. He says he's going to reverse that.
Yeah. When we were able to unshackle what's holding us back, lowering regulation and letting people keep more of what they earn, what do we have? We had a run-up on this economy, the strongest economy we've ever had in the last 50 years. And the first thing he says, there's a clip out there, you know what? I'm going to raise your taxes. That's what Joe Biden says. That's what he's promised, and that's what he'll do.
Yeah, he says he's going to increase taxes on wealthy filers and corporations to finance infrastructure, education, and clean energy. Carbon taxes will impact the energy sector as well. And he's got an aggressive pro-labor agenda, includes increasing the minimum wage as well, by the way.
Yeah, every country that wants to compete against us is going to be rooting for Biden because they're going to slow America down. We're going to go back to higher unemployment. We're going to go back to the challenges of wondering if the next generation will be better off than we are today. I mean, remember, you have 61% of Americans who are better off today than they were 3 years ago. I don't think they want to go backwards.
So
I truly believe the president has a better chance of beating Joe Biden than competition with Bernie Sanders. So
the races are going to be consistent up until November. What do you need to do to take back the House and to ensure President Trump beats either Joe Biden or Bernie Sanders? Because it certainly feels like a two-man race now.
Yeah, I think the president's going to win either way. But with Joe Biden, there is no enthusiasm for him. That gives him real problems in the House. We only need 18 seats, and we've got 30 Democrats who sit in seats that President Trump carried. That's even going to grow further. You've got an ability to win this House back. Bloomberg spent $1 billion, and he's only big in American Samoa. So, I mean, he'll probably get out of the race. Elizabeth Warren gets out of the race. That's going to help Bernie as well. The real challenge here is, can we compete? We beat them on ideas. Financially, we need to get there. The best way to go is takethehouse.com if you really want to see this flip. Otherwise, there'll be continual investigations of President Trump going into the next term.
It feels like this coronavirus crisis is among the latest tests for President Trump's leadership. It's spreading across the country. We've got 9 people dead in the United States, all of them in Washington state. Congressman, at least 43 cases have been confirmed in your home state. And I know that the CDC had a real blunder. I was the first to report the fact that the CDC sent out test kits to 50 states and then called the states and said, wait, don't test anybody. The tests are defective. We're finally now getting testing done in the United States. I've been told to expect tens of thousands, eventually hundreds of thousands of cases in the U.S.
Remember this, Johns Hopkins just came out with a report that America is the best prepared to deal with this. And remember what we've been doing for the last 5 years. We've increased funding almost 40% in the National Institute of Health, NIH, CDC almost 40%. And what Republicans did when we were in the majority, we created the infectious disease rapid response. We also did the national stockpile. So we're the best prepared out of every nation. The challenge that we've really had is that China was not forthcoming. When this happened in November, they hid from it. They wouldn't let the American scientists, doctors, and researchers in. We have the very, very best medicine here, and I like what the president has done by stopping the flights early coming to China, but watch what he's just done this week, bringing the private sector in that is so good at this, helping to find a vaccine so everybody's working together. He just toured NIH yesterday, making sure, putting the emphasis. And I think you'll see him at the CDC as well. We got the Vice President coming in to speak to us today with his team. I know we'll be meeting as the House on both sides about the latest effects of this. Now, we've got to be prepared for this, but the real challenge is we've made some very smart moves early, but we've got to be able to deal with it now.
Well, it's certainly impacting the economy. Real quick, you expecting things to slow down considerably because of this?
I don't think considerably, but you're going to see a slowdown on the supply chain. But that really should go to something that we should look differently on. Why does our supply chain have to depend so much on China,
right,
especially when it comes to so many essentials that we need here? This is something that the president has been bringing up long before. So just as we prepared for those stockpiled infectious disease and others, we should now be looking at redirecting our supply chain back here into America.
Yeah.
And I think that's a key part as we move forward.
And I know that was the point of USMCA in the Phase 1 China deal. Congressman, it's good to see you this morning. Thank you, sir.